Now Jack's going to demonstrate how to go ahead and check the fluids in your car, since, you know, teenagery type boys might have neglected such maintenance.
It's my personal experience that fluid checking is not such a priority until you destroy something. And I've done that. I've destroyed engines by not maintaining my fluids. First thing we're going to check is the oil. It's right here on this car where it says engine oil. So you want to make sure your vehicle is on a level surface, or as close to level as possible, to get an accurate reading. And then you take your grasp, your oil dipstick, take a clean rag and wipe it off. You have your indicators here. Well, let me turn it this way. There's a dot here and a dot here. F for full, L for low. Anywhere in between is considered safe. If you get close to the low, though, you may want to add a little bit, half a quart or so. Alright, so you have it, you clean it off so that there won't be any false readings up high on the stick. You get an accurate reading, so always clean it first. Then reinsert it, pull it back out, and lo and behold, it is just below the low mark. So we can definitely use at least a quart of oil.
Okay.
And if you haven't exceeded your oil change mileage interval, you would be wondering. Let's see. You'd be wondering if is it the engine consuming oil excessively, or is it leaking? Because it's going somewhere. So what I would do first is just look under and check for leaks.
Well, it seems pretty obvious, but something I would have skipped.
Yeah, if your oil level's low and you haven't gone well over the mileage change interval, then no, that's the first thing I do is check for leaks. Nothing on the bottom, that's a good sign.
Okay.
And then you look around top for oil would typically leak. I don't see any trails of oil. Minor signs around the valve cover, but not enough to even account for
What valve cover? Where's the valve cover?
this thing on top.
That's the valve cover?
Here.
Okay.
Yes, it extends about 2-3 inches. It seals around the top of the cylinder head. There's a thin film, a haze, but not enough to even account for a noticeable drop in the oil level. It's very likely it's consuming oil, using oil, or burning oil, as they say.
And what's that a symptom of?
A symptom of probably cylinder ring tension, piston ring tension. Could be the PCV system not working properly. So hopefully it would be the PCV system. That's an easy fix. If it's mechanical, a failure to seal properly in the piston area, that's just engine wear and not a whole lot you can do about it. You can put some types of aftermarket restorer that claims to allow things to seal back again. Worth a shot.
Mm-hmm.
We have some stuff that we use where I work, and I'll probably try that. In fact, they gave everybody a free sample about a month ago. I've just been waiting for the right time to use it, and lo and behold. That's your oil. Another thing you want to check is your coolant. Some people call it antifreeze. And here's your radiator cap.
Never open it when it's hot, right?
Never open when hot. Take a very, very high risk of scalding yourself. Typically, to open a radiator cap, you have to, so you turn it. It hits the first lock. You have to push down to disengage the lock and turn it again. Alright, and so the level is perfect. It is full. That is excellent. And then also you have a overflow reservoir that this small hose goes to here. You always want to, typically you want it to be half full when the engine is cold. Something like that. There's usually,
which this engine is cold.
There's usually markers on the sides of it that tell you what the cold level should be and what a full level should be.
And so you should always check the oil and fluids with the motor off, right?
With the motor off, yes.
Mm-hmm. And why is that?
Except for transmission fluid on almost every car, you check that with the engine running.
Okay.
Except on Hondas and Acuras.
And why should you have it off? Just from the heat or moving parts or what?
The oil you will get a false reading of low if you check it with it, or it will just be all over the stick because the oil will be sloshing around.
Okay.
So you turn the engine off, let all the oil settle into the bottom of the pan, and that's where they just design it to. That's the only way to get accurate reading on the oil.
Okay.
The coolant. You can check the coolant when the engine's hot after it's somewhat depressurized for some few minutes. And then it's, it just depends. But typically the pressure side of the system you don't want to. While the engine's hot, you don't want to break the seal there. That can be risky, but you can check in the overflow. It'll show a different reading level when the car is hot and a different level when the car is cold.
Do you normally check this while you're doing this or no?
Yes, power steering fluid, I do.
I didn't know if that was like a sometime thing.
No, we always check that.
Always? Okay.
And there are ways to do it. This jug, usually you can see through them and see the level. This one's pretty old, but I can see through the top that it's a good level. Power steering fluid, you don't want it to be at the brim. Somewhere
It looks like it's about right here.
Somewhere about 3/4
to
the top is where you want that to be.
Okay.
As a general fluid, almost always. Brake fluid is here. I'll shine the light through. You can tell. Let me clean this off the rack. You can kind of see the darker gold under here where it stops, and that's the level there. That is actually at the very close to the maximum recommended. So under
that's brake fluid.
That's brake fluid. Under accurate conditions, that would normally indicate that your brake pads and brake shoes are in very good condition. It's not always true though. You could have low brake pads and still have full level here because somebody filled it up.
Okay.
That involves kind of a different kind of tutorial. We don't have time for that right now.
Okay.
The transmission fluid here, you check with the engine running in park on most cars. Some cars in neutral with the engine running. And that's just the way the different manufacturers design theirs to be checked. This here is where you wash your fluid. You check it with the car, hot, cold, running, not running, whatever.
Okay.
No biggie.
Awesome.
So, also just to show you here, hold this on. When you're a transmission level gauge, you also have, it's similar to the oil dipstick. It has a range here. It has a range between these two dots for a cold engine. A range in between these two dots for a hot engine, or an engine that's at normal operating temperature. So when the engine's first cranked and it's set for hours, you would go by according to the cold reading. You want to be within that range. After the engine has reached operating temperature, you would check it and go by this range here, the hot range. So if I were to crank it now and check it, I would be reading in the cold range.
Okay.
You want to do that?
Sure.
Fire it.
Fire it up, Maestro.
to circulate the transmission fluid throughout the system so that I have even more accurate reading. I hold my brake, shift the, move the shifter through all the gear rings. Just not giving it any gas, just holding the brake. I put it in the first position for about 5 seconds. Second position for about 5 seconds. I do that with every gear. That allows the fluid to fill all the passageways for the different gears, and I like to think that gives a more accurate reading. Finish in park. If it were some Chryslers or Dodges, you would finish in neutral.
But this is a what kind of car?
The Hyundai
Hyundai what?
Accent.
Okay.
We're going to do like we would do with the oil. Put the dipstick out, wipe it clean. Now we're going to get an accurate reading. Okay. So
That's like a red fluid, huh?
It's like a red fluid, yeah. So we're right at the top of the cold, maximum cold level, which is perfect. We have a cold engine. We're showing full in the cold condition. That's ideal. You can see it. There we go.
If only you had an assistant to hold the flashlight.
It's only the assistant we're told. Okay, so that's that. Now we'll add a quart of oil. We're good to go.
Okay. Go.
All right. Okay, folks, all I could find was a half quart in the house. That's better than having none. Should have brought some pliers too. There we go. Okay, this should get us back into the
So that's what new oil
safe
looks like.
operating range. Yeah. Yep. Black gold.
Texas tea?
Mm-hmm. So I'll give that a few seconds to drain to the bottom.
Okay.
A lot of times if you listen closely you can hear it hitting the bottom. But anyway. So, you always want to keep that area clean. You don't want to get any debris into your oil.
Why, what will that do?
Depending on what kind of debris, it could actually scar the metal moving surfaces and could potentially cause damage.
Gotcha. Okay. Debris bad.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it in a dust storm.
It's all about
You can do it at night though.
Yeah, that's right.
Especially if you got a great assistant holding the light for you when
At night.
when you need it.
Well, you
instead
feel
of-
better about it at night because you can't see the debris when it goes in. You sleep better. Okay, so we're almost in the middle of the safe zone. Most cars these days recommend not going over halfway to full because it affects computerized control devices that are controlled by oil levels and oil pressure. That's another story for another day also.
Okay.
So we're good. I feel safe here.
All right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate all of your instructions.
You're more than welcome, pretty lady.
And this is another Teaching Tuesday moment.